What's up, guys? This is Nathan Wilson, and we're going to go ahead and review my new car. Recently, we just made a decision to purchase within the midsize sedan segment, which is a highly competitive segment. Lots of options, lots of choices, lots of just all kinds of vehicles that actually fit in there. This here is our 2017 Camry XSE V6 model. I want to go ahead and show you around it. We'll do a walk around before we do the driving impression of the vehicle. We got a very large trunk here. This isn't a hybrid model, so you do get the full capacity of the trunk. No type of batteries or any other junk cluttering up your trunk space. Also cargo net, obviously. There's a couple changes we made to this vehicle we want to make light of, because the first of which actually changes the whole dynamic of the vehicle, believe it or not, and that actually is the tire selection. With 3,500 miles on the clock, we noticed that the tires were a huge weak point of this vehicle. Since this is an XSE, it does come equipped with the 225, 45, 18 tires, but these are not the factory Michelin Primacy tires, the Grand Touring All Season. These are actually the Michelin Pilot AS3 Pluses. So these are ultra high performance tires. Made a huge difference the way a vehicle responds, and we'll go over that more in detail once we get in the car and drive it. This car is equipped with the 2GR FE V6. It is a Toyota's 3.5 liter V6 used in a lot of different applications, and this application is rated 268 horsepower, 250 foot-pounds of torque. No type of crazy technology here. This car does have variable valve timing, which is evident from behind the wheel. You can actually tell. No type of direct injection, no turbos, just classic 3.5 liter displacement and natural aspiration. Wonderful motor. We'll talk more about that, because this is another option that I highly recommend. This vehicle, since it is a V6 model, does come with LED headlights, which are standard on the 6-cylinder models in the XSE and the XLE trim. The other noticeable change we have is actually a Borla exhaust out of Borla. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize the convenience package, which is the remote key here, which is use keyless entry, push button start, and also remote start. So you can get a little clip of what the exhaust sounds like. I think it sounds pretty good. So you do 2 clicks of the lock button, and then you hold down the lock button. This car will start flashing and then start up momentarily. Just a nice burble, nothing crazy. That's a cold startup, so that's about as loud as you're going to hear from a startup. Sounds really good, actually. I don't have anybody in the vehicle to give a little bit of gas so you can hear what it sounds like in the upper rev ranges, but perhaps you can hear from inside the car. So once again, midsize segment is just a crazy competitive segment, and I'm going to make this walk around in a driving impression video, so you can I can actually tell you why I feel like this is probably the best decision you can make. Now, be it that's a subjective, that is an opinion, obviously, but I feel like this is a pretty good vehicle for you to make a selection. I'll start with my first complaint, is that the remote start system I feel like could be better integrated. When you go to unlock the handle, when you put your hand in here, as you can hear, or maybe you can't hear, the engine just died. So when you get back in the car, you actually have to restart the car. Not a big deal, just something I wish that they would have changed. Interior wise, everything you touch is nice. So here is a suede door panel. You get suede door panel. The seats are actually suede and leather combination here. The moonroof comes with the 6-cylinder model, so you can have the moonroof. Also, you get your navigation. You got all your apps here for all your stuff, whatever you want to do. The XSE gauge cluster is very nice laid out. Paddle shifters. We'll get into more of these actually as we start driving, because surprisingly they're more responsive than you might expect. I'm used to GM automatics that are just terrible, for better words sakes, and it's actually way more responsive than I expected. The back seat is very cavernous, lots of space. You get the same suede and leather background going on in here. So very nicely pointed interior. There are a couple of competitors I feel like that have similarly nice interiors, but this one is definitely a nice way to make it home. Dual zone climate control, the JBL audio system sounds great, and that kind of wraps up my walk around. We're going to go ahead and skip to the driving impressions. Alright guys, we're now at the driving impression review of the 2017 Camry XSE. I want to apologize about any lighting or audio concerns. I actually am using my iPhone 7, so haven't quite bought a camera yet, but neither here nor there. I want to go ahead and get into the driving impression review of the 2017 Camry XSE. First, I want to talk about the changes I've made and why those are relevant, so that way I can establish a context for you to actually impart your opinion on what you should spend your money on. First of all, the tires made the biggest difference on this vehicle, believe it or not. Switching from those Primacy, those MS4 Primacies, those Grand Touring all-season tires, was probably the best thing you could ever do to this car, believe it or not. They're just not grippy. Braking performance is lackluster. You could spin the tires at a moment's notice from acceleration, engage traction control way too easily. I mean, the lateral grip was terrible, and a lot of they're really to blame for a lot of the XSE's lackluster braking performance and skid pad performance. But with the Pilot Sport AS3 Pluses, you still have some longevity versus going to like a Michelin Pilot Super Sport, which you're going to give up longevity for grip. But I believe this is kind of a happy medium, in my opinion, because the tires are a lot grippier, they're quieter, they're cheaper, and they just allow the car, they just give it a different level of athleticism, especially when you compare it to the Honda Accord competitors and the Mazda 6 competitors. The Mazda 6 really impressed me with its chassis design and everything else, and I'm actually going to kind of go into why I didn't purchase a Mazda 6 and why actually a lot of the vehicles I was looking at, what kind of just eliminated so many of them off the table, and that was a 4-cylinder engine. This vehicle is a little under 3,500 pounds and is huge. This is not a small vehicle. I don't want to say it's huge, it's not a truck or anything, but it's not a small vehicle. Motivation from the 4-cylinder is very laborious. It's not adequate in my opinion at all. Putting your foot, heavy throttle applications required to move any kind of passing, any kind of merging, any kind of anything. The motor just does not have the torque and horsepower to move the vehicle with any type of authority. Not only that, what you gain with the 6-cylinder is a lot of refinement. You gain smoothness, you gain mid and low end torque you don't find in the 4-cylinder, and that is really why the Mazda 6 got hacked off my list. The Malibu got hacked off my list, and the Optima got hacked off my list. Some of those come with turbocharged 4-cylinder options, but they still only address the thrust part of the equation, if that. You're still going to get the you're going to get the inherent imbalance of the 4-cylinder. You're going to get a lot of vibrations, a lot of harshness, a lot of that noise you don't want to hear. 4-cylinders don't sound that great. You get the lot more intricate, you get a more complex design that's really unnecessary, where this car is actually rated, the 4-cylinder in the Camry, we'll go to the Camry for a second, it's actually only rated 2 miles per gallon better than the 6 in city and highway cycles. We're actually seeing 28.5 to 29 miles per gallon in Houston stop and go traffic back and forth to work on our daily commute. That is mixed driving. More actually lean towards, I would actually lean towards city, because with the stop and go that we do and the Houston traffic, a lot of that actually is stop and go or city driving, but we do some highway driving nevertheless, and we do see 28.5 to 29 miles per gallon, which is better than any non-hybrid combined EPA cycle that any of the other cars have seen. That being said, I know the Mazda 6 is actually doing better than its EPA numbers suggest as well, but with over 100 horsepower given over to the V6, all of the smoothness, refinement, and you just don't hear the engine running. You don't feel it running. You don't, none of that. It's just that type of refinement you don't expect in the entry-level mid-size sedan category. Also with the Camry, you get a lot of options you don't get with the 4-cylinder, such as the convenience package with the push-button start, the keyless entry, the sunroof. You get the HID headlights and a lot of other little intricate options you actually can't get on the 4-cylinder model. That being said, the Accord, for its part, I looked at the Accord, wonderful car. Engine is actually louder than this one. Sounds great though. It's more that induction snarl that you get with the Accord. Sounds great, but when it comes down to like the touch points, the things you touch, the steering wheel, the door panels, the center console, those touch points are actually not as nice as they are in the Camry in my particular model. In my opinion, there's more of like a cheap plasticky kind of material, and you really you just don't get that you really just don't get that niceness to it. Now, as far as the way the Camry handles in base form, the stock tires, it's cumbersome to say the least. I mean, you get a lot of the what I like to call the slushness from those tires, the stopping distances, the when you go play with it on the back road. Now, believe it or not, this is the most surprising part to me, the transmission. Now, in normal, like just drive mode, it's just an automatic slushing its gears around. Not exactly what you want for an enthusiast, but pop it into sport mode. You're greeted to rev match downshifts. Very good rev match downshifts. You're greeted to very urgent upshifts. Not quite dual clutch level, but it's getting there. The paddles do have a delay to them. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's like a 458 where, you know, it's connected to your spinal cord and your nervous system and it knows exactly when it's not like that. But for a Camry, in context of what this is, I have not driven a better automatic that's not a dual clutch that shifts like this. It's great. It's a willing partner for the 6-cylinder. And really, I can't recommend a Camry that's not a 6-cylinder, and here's why. First of all the options that you have to omit going to the 4-cylinder, and second of all, the fatigue, the laborious driving nature of the 4-cylinder, it just doesn't accelerate with any type of vigor. It doesn't with any kind of authority. It doesn't move. It doesn't go. It's like, for example, okay, you get on the freeway, you're merging, you can use the lower end of this tack. You can use 3,000 and under. You can use the mid-range, where this engine will dial up triple-digit speeds way faster than your expectations would give it credit for. The 6 will seriously get a move on down the road. Sport mode and in the back canyons, it's not a mid-engine sports car, but for what it is, being a front-heavy, front-wheel drive family sedan, it definitely gets my vote. The Fusion had recently offered a sport trim with the Turbo 6. And here's my take on it when compared to this car. The Fusion is significantly heavier than this car. This car is in the 3,400 pound range, maybe a little bit more. The Fusion is in the 38 plus 100 pound range. So you're getting a lot heavier of a vehicle, but you are getting all-wheel drive, which is part of why the Fusion is half to 6/10 of a second faster. Listen to that. That's part of why the Fusion is a half a second to 6/10 of a second faster. It's all-wheel drive. It's actually power to weight wise. If you look at the quarter-mile trap speeds, it's actually not trapping faster than the Camry is. You're actually getting similar roll-on performance as far as, you know, like I said, the real-world situation, passing test, the merging, the passing on a 2-lane road. You're actually getting very similar real-world performance out of the Camry V6 with less power, but a lot less weight as well. So that's worth noting. And also the Fusion Sport is hovering around the $40,000 range, where this car is retailing around 34 before negotiations. So, and like I said, I didn't do all the driver options, but I didn't care. I know how to drive. I don't need somebody looking over my shoulder for me when I'm driving. I don't need like all that, you know, that's whatever. So I was actually able to get out the door a little bit cheaper than if you were to get the driver assistance package. So that's nice. But overall, this vehicle gets a lot better gas mileage than EPA would suggest. You can read Motor Trend and Car and Driver. They both got those higher mileage. I think you got 35 on Car and Driver, 75 mile an hour, 200-mile loop. So there's that. The engine is lovely. I really can't make a case for the 4-cylinder Camry. The engine really breaks that car. Just like in the Mazda 6, the underpowered nature of those vehicles just really break that car for me. Sure, it's lighter over the front axles, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, when you drive this car, the level of fatigue you feel as a driver is so much less. The car is so much more relaxed, and everything it does has to do with passing or anything like that. And that's really what it comes down to with this car. The Accord is another excellent choice. I found, in my opinion, that the interior, the touch points were not as nice as they were in the Camry. Perhaps you have a different opinion. That's the only reason really why I didn't go with the Accord. The Altima is completely 86 because CVT. Just will not buy any vehicle with the CVT. CVTs are terrible. They drone. They're just all around. I mean, my buddy had an 08 or 09 Altima 3.5. His mom he was in high school, his mom put like 2 or 3 transmissions in it. Just unreliable, not fun, just make a terrible sound. I mean, it was not happening. It just wasn't happening, okay? So the Nissan got completely 86. So that's why I'm not really talking much about that. But the Camry is a very nice, well-appointed car. If you're looking for a mid-size sedan, I highly recommend the Camry XSE V6, especially for those looking for a little bit more than plain Jane vanilla. Like I said, you're not going to be, it's not as athletic as the Mazda 6 or, you know, a BRZ or whatever. But funny enough, this car put the BRZ in the bleachers as far as acceleration is concerned. You meet a BRZ at the stoplight with the Camry V6, you're going to stop a hole in his ass. It's going to be the best feeling you ever had in your life. But excuse me, but it's really hard to discount this vehicle. And this engine is actually from 07, so they're actually for 2018 gonna put direct injection, variable cam timing, a bunch of other little technologies into the V6, where it's actually gonna get better fuel economy than its Turbo 4 competitors. Because right now the Malibu, for example, the 2017 with the 9-speed and Turbo 4-cylinder, it actually weighs less than this car, is actually only getting 1 mile per gallon better, and is nothing close to the way this car drives. Here, let me see. I don't know if you can hear that well. I'll turn the air off. Maybe you can hear the exhaust a little bit better. But here, I'm on the freeway. I haven't even downshifted. I'm already doing the speed limit. I'm already doing, well, 69 miles an hour. But let's see, the kind of passing power in this V6 is pretty good. And take a listen to the Borla exhaust. There's 95 miles an hour already. There's 100. There's 105 miles an hour. There's 108 miles an hour, and we're about to rear into F-150. So you got a lot of pickup. I mean, in that time, if you'd had the 4-banger, if you'd have kicked it from about 70, you maybe would have been going 85, 90. But the 6 just piles on the speed and the upper registers, where no 4-cylinder in the class can really compete with that. And the sound is lovely. In my opinion. But that concludes my in-depth car review of my personal vehicle. I know I'm biased, and that's fine. I wanted to share with you guys my review, what I've been able to collect from the sample size, the class, and what kind of the competitors are doing. This is an excellent vehicle, guys. Really hard to shake. You got the Toyota reliability. You got all the lag-free infotainment, never frozen. It's not sync, heaven forbid. I mean, just a nice vehicle. Everybody that's seen this vehicle finds it very nice. They love it, and that's about all I can say. I wish it was a little bit cheaper. You can get the 4-cylinder version of this car for about $600 to $6,500 cheaper, with similarly optioned, because you can't get some of the options on the 4-cylinder. So that's worth noting. The biggest difference is really the price. So thank you guys for checking out the review. If you're looking for a mid-size car, highly recommend you take a look at the V6 Camry. Nice car. If it didn't say Camry on the back, I'm sure it'd get a lot more respect than it actually does. But take a look for yourself. Take care, guys. Alright guys, now that we've done the driving impression review of the vehicle, I kind of want to show you guys best I can. I don't really have all the equipment to do this properly, but I want to show you guys like a little 0 to 60, a little bit about how the how the paddle shifters work, so you can see how well they do. You can kind of see the lag or whatever you want to see with the vehicle. So I'm in sport manual mode right now. As you can see, I'm going down this pretty cool little road right here. But you can kind of see the way how the paddles work, a little bit of the thrust, you know, third gear, roll on a little bit. So, you know, it actually auto downshifted just then, but we're about to run into this truck, so we're gonna slow down a little bit. But check out these rev matches. This is awesome. So paddle. Like that right there is entertaining. Like that there is pretty fun. Okay, so it looks like we could go. Let's just slow down a little bit real here. We've got a lot of traffic right here, but like I said, I just want to give you a little idea of what the car does. So this is something to note, actually. The shifts are actually not as fast if you shift in the mid-range. If you shift wide open throttle, I'll see if I can show you here soon. This car is actually kind of quick, so you actually can't rev out too many gears on back roads like this, because it just catches traffic so fast. But like I said, once you start shifting on the higher RPMs, closer to red line, it actually shifts with some pretty good immediacy. Let's see here. Let me slow down, see if I can get a little second gear pull in. Somebody's behind me, but let's see if I can show you. So that's S2. Let's see if we can get this truck a little room up here. It's not enough room. Okay, so there's 30 on roll. So, all right, so there's the throttle. All right, catching the truck pretty fast. So as you, yeah, so The truck's here. So as you can see, that rev matching. So as you can see, the shifts are a lot faster up in the top end. The car, like I said, it hunts down traffic pretty quick. Also, another thing I didn't notice in my driving review is that this car, we actually run premium fuel in this car. Regular is recommended 87, but since this vehicle does utilize a higher compression and does have variable valve timing and knock sensors, the vehicle actually is able to advance timing a little bit with the higher octane fuel, yielding a higher performance envelope. So that's pretty cool. Look at the little Focus RS, that's cool. I'm gonna flip around, see if I can't do a 0 to 60. We're going back on our favorite road here. Well, favorite, it's not the best. Kind of get jealous watching Matt Ferry's reviews up in the canyons, but I kind of want to see if I can't do a little 0 to 60 here. Turn traction control off over here and see if I can't. It's going to be kind of hard. Traffic's kind of bad today, so I'm not really picking the best time to do this. Really impromptu. Since it's Toyota, it's gonna let you know traction control's off with the exclamation mark and all that other shit. So let's see here if we can get a little 0 to 60 run in. All right, we're gonna go after this car here. All right, so let's see here. Let's pull out on this road here. Maybe not 0 to 60. Let's do a get this out of here. How about a 20 roll? How about that? We're gonna have to compromise with that. So tire spin immediately, so you get a short shift, and then there's 60 miles an hour right there. So, and then as you can see, we're getting up there really quick now, almost 90 miles an hour. Doesn't auto upshift when in sport mode, so it's gonna hold the revs for me going around this corner. But there's some stop signs up here, so I'm gonna have to step on the brake a little bit. It actually looks like it turned traction control back on. Godly Toyota, killing me Toyota. But as you can see, probably by the 2 videos I've done now, you can kind of see how it gets on. 20 roll, even with these stickier tires, definitely gonna get some tire spin. Just a lot of torque for the front wheels to handle. It's funny enough, we had a 4-cylinder rental car. One of our cars actually got hit, and we actually tried to spin the tires and it just wasn't having it. Brake torqued it and it just gripped, so I thought that was pretty funny. But guys, that's about it. That's all I got for this car. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. We definitely got the driving impressions done. A little bit, as you can see, a little bit how the transmission reacts, a little bit what I was talking about. Just a fun, honestly a fun car to have that you wouldn't otherwise think of being fun. Most people don't know that this car could actually be kind of fun for a dad that's compromising, wants something faster or more expensive even. But I think for the price point and the segment that this car competes, I really can't give any other car that I've driven. I didn't look at the Passat, so I want to give that caveat here, but from the JD Powers and Consumer Reports and everything I've heard about Volkswagen reliability, I really didn't want to. But from everything I've driven, everything I've looked at, everything I've considered, this is really kind of the best car that you could buy right now, in my opinion, if it's going to be a mid-size sedan. Check it out, guys. I think you'll really enjoy it. And that's it for my review. Have a great one.